What would you do if someone tried to steal everything from you? Keep watching, because what this brave mom did next will surprise you. I'm Linda, and I'm 63 years old. This is the story of how I almost lost everything to someone I thought was going to become family. It all started at my son's wedding party. I was standing near a big column when I heard my new daughter-in-law talking to her best friend. What she said made my heart stop. "We'll wait about 6 months," she whispered. "Then we'll write down every time she forgets something. When she seems confused or repeats herself, we'll take her to a doctor. And we can prove she's too old to take care of herself." Her friend looked worried. "Isn't that mean?" My daughter-in-law laughed. "She's 63 and lives alone in that huge beach house. We're actually helping her. Plus, Michael deserves to get that house. His mom has been so difficult." I felt like someone had poured ice water down my back. She was talking about my beach house, the one my husband and I had bought 30 years ago. The place where my son learned to swim. Where my husband had asked me to marry him so many years back. I stepped back from the column, my heart beating fast. She looked across the room and saw me. She smiled and waved like nothing was wrong. I waved back because that's what moms do at weddings. We smile even when our hearts are breaking. Let me go back 3 months to when this all began. My son, Michael, brought Emily home for the first time. She was 28 years old, with bright blonde hair and a smile that seemed too perfect. Everything about her seemed practiced, like she had rehearsed what to say. "Mrs. Johnson," she said, hugging me tight. "Michael has told me so many wonderful things about you." Something felt wrong, but I couldn't explain what it was. We sat in my living room drinking coffee. Emily said nice things about my furniture, my flowers, and everything she saw. Michael looked at her like she was the most amazing person in the world. "How did you two meet?" I asked. "At the fitness center," Michael answered quickly, before Emily could speak. She needed help with the exercise machines. "Actually," Emily interrupted with a laugh, "I didn't really need help. I had been watching Michael work out for weeks. I was trying to think of a way to talk to him. At least she was honest about planning it." "What kind of work do you do, Emily?" I asked. "I used to help families with their problems," she said. "Now I'm starting a business teaching people about health and wellness. Helping families with problems. Mental health." I should have paid more attention to that warning sign. Over the next few weeks, Emily was always around. She would show up for dinner without being invited. She would rearrange things in my kitchen. She gave me advice I didn't ask for. One evening, while washing dishes I didn't ask her to wash, she said, "You know, Linda, Michael told me you handle all your money by yourself. That must be really hard at your age." "I've been managing money since before you were born, dear," I said. "Of course. I just mean that technology changes so fast now. Maybe Michael could help you." Michael had never cared about my money before Emily came along. In fact, he had asked me for money 3 times in the past year. "I can handle it just fine, thank you," I said. She just smiled that perfect smile. The worst part was watching my son change. Michael used to call me every Sunday. He brought me flowers on Mother's Day. After his father died, he spent hours helping me organize his dad's office. But suddenly, he was too busy to call. Too tired to meet for lunch. "Emily thinks we spend too much time together," he told me. "She says it's not good for a man my age to depend on his mother so much. Depend on her." He'd been living in a small house on my property for 2 years, rent-free. But I stayed quiet. That's what mothers do. We keep our thoughts to ourselves and hope our children figure things out. 2 weeks later, Michael announced they were moving in together. Into a house I owned. A house I had bought as an investment 3 years ago. A house I was letting him use for free while he got back on his feet. "It will be perfect, Mum," Michael said, walking around my kitchen while Emily sat quietly with that calm smile. Emily loves the place. We can really start our life together. That's wonderful, sweetheart, I said. Have you thought about when you might start paying the rent? His face fell. We're family. Can't we work something out? We have worked something out. For 2 years. Emily reached across and touched my hand. Linda, I hope you don't think I'm pushing Michael into anything. I would never want to come between you and your son. Of course not, dear, I said. I just believe in being practical about business. Maybe we could start small, Emily suggested. Michael could begin by paying the electric and water bills, then slowly work up to paying rent. We wouldn't want him to feel overwhelmed. Overwhelmed by paying his own bills at 32 years old. Within a month, they had moved into what Michael now called our house. Emily threw out old furniture and bought new things that looked expensive. The electric bills stopped coming to me, but rent payments never started. When I called Michael about it, Emily answered his phone. Hi, Linda. Michael's in the shower. Is everything okay? Just checking about the rent we talked about. Right. We've been meaning to talk to you. Money has been tight with moving costs and starting Emily's new business. Could we start next month? Of course. Next month will be fine. Next month came and went. So did the month after that. One afternoon, I drove by the house. There was a brand new expensive car in the driveway. Michael's old car was gone. I called him that night. Nice car, Michael. Silence. How do you know about the car? I own the house, remember? I drive by sometimes to check on my property. That's kind of weird, Mom. Weird? Checking on property I owned was weird. Emily needed a reliable car for her business, he continued. We got a great deal. How wonderful. When might you start paying rent? Look, Mom, we need to talk. Emily thinks. We both think you're being controlling about money. Controlling? For wanting my 32-year-old son to pay his own bills. You're using the house as a tool to control us, he continued. Emily says that's not healthy. Everything was Emily says now. That conversation happened on a Tuesday. By Friday, I was sitting in my lawyer's office. Linda, are you sure about this? Mr. Williams had been our family lawyer for 15 years. Absolutely sure. Both properties? The rental house and the beach house? Both of them. Mr. Williams leaned back in his chair. May I ask why? I could have told him about Emily's secret conversation at the wedding that hadn't happened yet. I could have explained about the expensive car and the unpaid bills. Instead, I said, I'm 63 years old. I want to make my life simpler. These are big properties. Linda, the beach house alone is worth over $2 million, which is why I want them sold properly. Michael doesn't know about this? Michael assumes many things. That's part of the problem. He's your heir. He'll need to be told. Not if I'm not dead. Both properties are in my name only. I can do whatever I want with them. Mr. Williams nodded slowly. Legally, yes. But think about the family problems this might cause. I thought about Emily's laugh when she told her friend about having me declared mentally unfit. I thought about Michael calling me controlling. I thought about 40 years of sacrificing for a child who now saw me as an obstacle. How long will the sales take? I asked. If we price them right, and you want to sell quickly, we could finish both in about 60 days. Perfect. Price them to sell fast. Where do you want the money? New bank account. Different bank. I'll give you the details next week. When will you tell Michael? I thought about that. About timing and consequences. About watching someone who took you for granted discover what they had lost. I'll tell him when he needs to know. One more thing. Mr. Williams, I want you to look into something for me. Of course. Emily Morrison, 28 years old. Used to work in family services. I want to know everything about her. Mr. Williams made a note. Any particular reason? Call it a mother's instinct? The call came on a Thursday morning in October. Michael's voice was high and panicked. Mum, we need to talk. Right now. Good morning to you too, sweetheart. Can you come over? Emily's at work, so we can talk alone. Interesting. Alone meant without Emily watching. I'll be right there. I drove slowly to the house, knowing this would be my last visit as the owner. Michael opened the door before I could knock. His hair was messy. His shirt looked like he'd slept in it. We got a notice, he said. The house is being sold. They want us out in 30 days. How strange. Who's selling it? Very funny, Mom. You know exactly who. I walked past him into the living room. Emily had redecorated again. Everything was white and grey now, like a hospital. I don't understand why you're upset, Michael. Cut it out, Mom. You sold our house. I sold my house. There's a difference. Michael stared at me. This is our home. We've been living here for months. On my dime. We were going to start paying rent. We just needed more time. 6 months wasn't enough time. We had expenses. The wedding, Emily's business, the cars. The cars. More than one. How many cars do 2 people need, Michael? He ran his hands through his hair. That's not the point. Actually, it is the point. I pulled a paper from my purse. Check your lease agreement. 30 days notice for ending the lease. What lease? The one you signed when you moved in. Mr. Williams had you sign it, remember? Michael's face turned pale. I thought that was just a formality. Family paperwork. All contracts are formalities until someone breaks them. We didn't break anything. You stopped paying after the first month. You bought expensive cars while not paying bills. And according to my research, Emily's been telling people she owns this house. That last part was a guess. But the way Michael's eyes moved told me I was right. Where is Emily today? I asked, at her new office. She's launching her wellness business. With what money? She has people who invested in her business. Do these people know she's been living rent-free for 6 months? Mom, you're being ridiculous. We're family. Family helps each other. You're right. Family does help. Tell me, when was the last time you helped me with anything? Michael sank onto the white couch. This isn't fair, Mom. We're getting married. We need stability. Then get jobs that provide it. So you're punishing us for not being rich. That hurt. I'm protecting myself from people who see me as a bank instead of a person. That's not true. Isn't it? When was the last time you called just to see how I was doing? Not to ask for money or complain, but just to check on your mother. Michael opened his mouth, then closed it. You'll figure something out, sweetheart. You're creative when you need to be. I walked to the door, then stopped. Oh, and Michael, the beach house is sold too. In case Emily was counting on that. His shocked voice followed me all the way to my car. I didn't hear from Michael for 3 weeks. Then Emily called. Linda, we need to talk. No friendliness. No fake warmth. Hello, Emily. How are you? We're staying with my sister temporarily. This situation is unacceptable. I'm sorry you're having housing problems. Don't play games with me. You know exactly what you've done. Finally, the real Emily. I've sold 2 properties that belong to me. I'm not sure why that concerns you. Those properties were Michael's inheritance. Michael's inheritance will be what I leave him when I die. Since I'm not dead, he gets nothing. You can't just cut your son out of your life because he fell in love. I'm not cutting him out because he fell in love. I'm cutting him out because he chose a gold digger over his mother. Silence. Then, you bitter old woman. There it was. The mask completely off. I may be old, Emily, but I'm not bitter. Bitter people just complain. I take action. This isn't over, Linda. Oh, I think it is. Actually, I have something to say. Michael's been struggling since you kicked us out. He's been forgetting things, getting confused, having mood swings. I'm worried about his mental health. My blood went cold. What kind of things is he forgetting? Conversations we've had, appointments, where he put things. Yesterday he couldn't remember how to get to the store we always shop at. That's concerning. Have you suggested he see a doctor? I think the whole family needs professional help. This relationship between you two isn't healthy. Linda, the way you're isolating him, controlling him with money, it's emotional abuse. Is it? I deal with these situations professionally. I know the signs. What do you suggest? Family therapy with someone who understands elderly care and family problems. Elderly care. Like I was some confused old woman who needed to be managed. That's very thoughtful, Emily. I'll think about it. Good. I'll send you some doctor names. People who really understand aging and family relationships. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen thinking. Emily was setting up her pieces like a chess game. Building a story. Confused son, isolated from controlling mother. Elder abuse. Mental health problems. She was good. Very good. But she had made one big mistake. She had warned me what was coming. The intervention happened on a Tuesday morning in November. I was making coffee when I heard cars in my driveway. Through the window, I saw Michael's truck. A car I didn't know and a white van. The doorbell rang. Michael stood on my porch with Emily. A woman in nurse clothes and a man in a suit. Mum, we need to talk. Good morning, everyone. This is quite a crowd. The man in the suit stepped forward. Mrs. Johnson, and Dr. Franklin from Peaceful Meadows Mental Health Center. Your family has concerns about your well-being. How thoughtful. Emily moved closer. Linda, we're here because we love you. Michael told Dr. Franklin about the worrying things you've been doing. Such as? The property sales, Mom, Michael said, not looking at me. Selling major assets without any good reason. Making rash financial decisions. I see. And this concerns you because it's not normal. You sold our homes. You left us with nowhere to live. That's not rational. Dr. Franklin looked at his clipboard. Mrs. Johnson, are you taking any medications? Just vitamins. Any changes in sleep, appetite, or mood? I sleep fine, eat well, and actually my mood has improved a lot. Your son says you've become isolated. Cutting off family. I've become selective about who I spend time with. The nurse stepped forward. Mrs. Johnson, I'm Nurse Patricia. We're here to help. Sometimes as we get older, we don't see changes in our own behavior. How old are you, Patricia? That's not relevant. I'm 63. How old are you? 34. So you're going to explain aging to someone who's been doing it 30 years longer than you? Dr. Franklin cleared his throat. Mrs. Johnson, your family has provided documentation of concerning incidents. Forgetfulness, confusion, poor financial choices. What documentation? Emily pulled out her phone. I've been recording some of our conversations, Linda. The things you've said aren't rational. May I hear these recordings? This isn't a trial, Mom, Michael said. We're trying to help you. By getting you the care you need, Emily said firmly. I looked at my son. My baby boy who used to be scared of thunder. Who cried on his first day of school. Who called me his best friend until Emily came along. Michael, look at me. He finally met my eyes. Do you really believe I'm mentally incompetent? I believe you need help, Mom. And I believe Emily knows how to get it for you. I turned to Dr. Franklin. What exactly are you suggesting? A 72-hour evaluation period. We'll run tests, do assessments, determine the best treatment. And if I refuse? Your family can petition for an emergency commitment if they believe you're a danger to yourself or others. I looked around the group. Emily looked sympathetic but determined. Michael looked miserable but sure. Dr. Franklin looked bored. How much does this evaluation cost? Insurance typically covers ... I don't have insurance for psychiatric facilities. Who's paying for this? Michael shifted uncomfortably. We'll figure that out, Mom. With what money? You can't afford rent. The important thing is getting you help, Emily said. Right. Help that someone else pays for. Fine, I said. Let me pack a bag. Relief flooded Michael's face. Thank you, Mum. This is the right thing. I'm sure it is, sweetheart. I went upstairs to pack. While throwing clothes in a suitcase, I made 3 phone calls. The first was to Mr. Williams. It's happening. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Positive. Remember what we discussed. If I don't contact you within a week, do everything we planned. Consider it done. The second call was to my bank about accessing my safety deposit box. The third call was to someone Emily probably didn't know existed. Someone who had been very interested when I asked about background checks. Detective Morrison, it's Linda Johnson. I think it's time we had that conversation about your sister. Peaceful Meadows Mental Health Center looked exactly like what it was. A place where unwanted people got stored. Clean and institutional, with motivational posters that fooled nobody. Dr. Franklin handed me to another doctor, Dr. Patricia Summers, who looked young enough to be my granddaughter. Mrs. Johnson, I'll be conducting your evaluation. I understand your family is concerned about recent behavioral changes. My family is concerned about their meal ticket disappearing. Dr. Summers made a note. Tell me about your relationship with your son. Which version? The son I raised or the stranger trying to have me committed? You seem angry. Wouldn't you be? Anger can sometimes be a symptom of mental issues, especially in patients your age. Patients. I was already a patient. Dr. Summers, how long have you been practicing? 5 years. And how many family money disputes have you seen disguised as mental health crises? I'm not sure what you mean. I think you do. Over the next 2 days, I took their tests. Memory checks. Thinking assessments. Psychological profiles. I answered their questions honestly and completely. I also made friends. Nurse Angela had worked at Peaceful Meadows for 15 years. She had seen every kind of family drama. Honey, she told me while checking my blood pressure, I've seen this movie before. Pretty girl, older man with money, family members who suddenly have concerns. How does it usually end? Depends on how smart the target is. Most times, families get what they want. Old person gets medicated. Assets get redistributed. Most times? Angela smiled. Sometimes the old person turns out to be smarter than everyone thought. Hypothetically, what would a smart old person do? Hypothetically, she'd document everything. Every conversation, every test, every interaction. She'd get copies of her medical records. She'd make sure someone on the outside knew exactly what was happening. Smart advice. I've got 30 years until retirement, Mrs. Johnson. I see a lot of unfairness and I can't fix most of it. But sometimes I can help the right person fix themselves. On my 3rd day, Angela brought me a large envelope. This came for you. Legal mail. Inside was everything Mr. Williams had promised. Emily's complete work history, including 3 previous jobs that ended with accusations of elder abuse, 2 lawsuits that were quietly settled, and most importantly, a criminal background check showing a fraud conviction in Nevada 5 years ago. There was also a handwritten note from Detective Morrison. Mrs. Johnson, Emily is my half-sister. I've been trying to build a case against her for years. Your situation might be exactly what we need. Call me when you get out. I folded the papers carefully and handed them to Angela. Would you mind keeping these safe for me? Of course. Hypothetically speaking, when might you need them back? Tomorrow morning. I have a feeling I'm about to be declared competent. Angela smiled. Funny how that works. Dr. Summers delivered the news with obvious reluctance. Mrs. Johnson, I've completed your evaluation. While you show signs of stress and some concerning decision-making patterns, I don't see evidence of mental impairment or mental illness requiring continued treatment. How surprising. However, I do think family counseling would be helpful. The dynamics between you and your son seem complex. I'm sure they do. Your son and Emily are here to take you home. The look on Emily's face when she saw Detective Morrison was worth every penny. This had cost me. Hello, Emily, he said. In a while. Michael looked confused. Mom, what's going on? Who are these people? Michael, meet Detective Morrison. Emily's half-brother. Emily's perfect composure cracked. Danny, what are you doing here? My job. Detective Morrison replied. Mrs. Johnson, would you like to tell them or should I? I'll handle it. I turned to Michael. Emily has done this before. 3 times that we know of. She targets men with wealthy family members, manipulates them into cutting off their families, then creates mental health crises to gain control of assets. That's ridiculous, David said. But his voice wasn't strong. Is it? Detective Morrison, would you share what you found? Emily Morrison, also known as Emily Wells and Emily Martinez, has been under investigation for elder fraud in 3 states. She was convicted in Nevada 5 years ago for tricking an 80-year-old man out of his pension. Michael stared at Emily. Is that true? It's complicated, Emily said. That case. There were misunderstandings. What about Margaret Thornfield in Arizona? Detective Morrison continued. 83 years old. Committed to a facility after her nephew's girlfriend convinced him his aunt was incompetent. The aunt died in that facility 3 months later after signing over her estate. That was different, Emily whispered. Or Harold Brennan in Colorado. 76 years old. Isolated from his family. Committed after his son's fiancée documented his declining mental state. He's still in a facility. Been there 2 years. Michael sank onto my couch. This can't be real. I'm afraid it is, sweetheart. I sat beside him. The engagement ring she's wearing belonged to Margaret Thornfield. Emily kept it as a trophy. Emily's hand went to the ring. You don't understand. These people were being taken advantage of by their families. I was protecting them. By stealing their money? By making sure they got locked in facilities where they died alone while you spent their life savings. Michael looked at the ring on Emily's finger, then at his girlfriend of 8 months. How long have you been planning this? Planning what? Michael, you're letting your mother poison your mind against me. She researched me, didn't she? I asked Detective Morrison, before she approached Michael. We found extensive files on your family, Mrs. Johnson. Financial records, property ownership, your husband's obituary, Michael's employment history. She knew exactly what she was walking into. Michael stood up slowly. You targeted me. This whole relationship. You targeted my family. Michael, please. I love you. You love my inheritance. That's not true. Detective Morrison stepped forward. Emily Morrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, falsifying medical documents, and elder abuse. As he read her rights, Emily finally dropped the act completely. You think you've won? She snarled at me. Your son will never forgive you for this. You've destroyed his life just to prove you're smarter than me. No, I said quietly. I've saved his life. And my own. Michael watched silently as they led Emily away. When the police cars disappeared, he turned to me. Mom, I am so sorry. I know you are, sweetheart. How can you ever forgive me? I thought about that question for a long moment. About trust and betrayal. About love and disappointment. Michael, I forgave you the moment you realized what had happened. But forgiveness doesn't mean pretending this didn't hurt. I understand. Do you? Because I need to know that you understand how close we came to losing everything. Not just money, everything. Michael nodded, tears in his eyes. She almost destroyed us. Yes, she did. And you helped her. I thought I was protecting her from you. She made me believe. God, Mom, she made me believe you were the problem. That's what people like Emily do. They're very good at it. How do we fix this? I looked at my son. Really looked at him for the first time in months. He looked older, tired, like he'd been carrying a heavy weight he could finally put down. We start over. Slowly. With honesty. And the houses are sold. I'm keeping the money. Michael winced but nodded. I deserve that. Yes, you do. But Michael? Yeah? When you're ready to rebuild your life, your real life, not some fantasy Emily sold you, I'll be here to help. Why? Because despite everything, you're still my son. And mothers don't give up on their children, even when their children give up on them. Home. To the house Emily probably thought she was about to inherit. Michael hugged me in the lobby, but it felt fake. I'm so glad you're okay, Mom. We were really worried. Were you? Emily stood beside him. That perfect smile back. Welcome back, Linda. I hope you're feeling better. Much better. Thank you. In Michael's truck, Emily turned to face me. Linda, I think we all learned something from this. Communication is so important in families. I couldn't agree more. I was thinking maybe we could have dinner tonight. Start fresh. That sounds lovely. Why didn't you both come to my house around 7? Michael glanced at Emily. Are you sure you're up for cooking? Oh, I won't be cooking. I'm ordering food from that new place downtown. Great, Emily said. We'll bring wine. Perfect. They dropped me at my house with promises to see me soon. I waved from my porch until they drove away. Then I went inside and made phone calls. The first was to Detective Morrison. I'm out. When can we meet? How about right now? I'll bring backup. The second was to Mr. Williams. Do everything tonight. Make sure the process server knows they'll be at my house at 7. The third was to Angela at Peaceful Meadows. I need copies of everything from my file. Already copied and sealed. I'll drop them by this afternoon. The fourth was to the catering company. I need dinner for 8 people delivered at 6:30. Something impressive. Money is no problem. I spent the afternoon reviewing documents and preparing at 6:30. Enough food for a small party arrived at 6:45. Detective Morrison and 2 other officers pulled into my driveway in unmarked cars at 7 o'clock exactly. Michael and Emily knocked on my door. Come in, I called. There are some people I'd like you to meet.